Chapter we are learning about history and prehistory. So we will be learning about their sources also, that how we come to know about these two things. So sources of prehistory, there are two main sources of information of prehistory. First is archaeology, second is oral traditions. What are oral traditions? These are the stories which are handed down from generation to generation by word of mouth. Now our next topic is archaeology. What do we mean by archaeology? It means the study of ancient things in Greek, and it is the study of the physical remains of the past. Ancient cities and villages, these are often buried under soil, water or volcanic ash. So these places are excavated by the archaeologists, and that's why these places are known as archaeological sites. The archaeologists, they study the artifacts and fossils which are found in these sites to understand the ancient past better. Now, what are artifacts? Artifacts, these are objects crafted by humans. For example, tools, weapons, pottery, toys, ornaments, and other things which were used in ancient times and have been uncovered, means have been excavated at archaeological sites all over the world there. Now, what do the archaeologists do with these things excavated from these sites? The archaeologists, they conduct scientific tests to determine or to know how old the artifacts are. They study and compare their shapes, sizes, and patterns to understand how people lived in the past. And these excavated artifacts are carefully preserved in museums. Next topic is fossils. Now, what are fossils? These are solid impressions or remains of plants or animals on rocks or ice. These remains are called fossils. Archaeologists, they use fossils as an important evidence of life in the past there. For example, fossils help archaeologists understand, like if we talk about animal fossils. From the fossil remains of animals of the past, the archaeologists, they come to know about that which animals were tamed in prehistoric times and which were wild. That through the studies, the archaeologists came to know that dogs were tamed almost 12,000 years ago. Our next topic is dating the discoveries. Now, objects which have been carefully dug out by the archaeologists, or we can say carefully excavated by the archaeologists, these are first sent to scientific laboratories. At these laboratories, certain tests are conducted to find out how ancient or how old these objects are. An important method used by the archaeologists to know all these things is known as carbon dating. In this method, the amount of carbon which is trapped in bones or potsherds, these are broken pieces of pottery, these are studied in order to understand how old the objects are. So in this way, with the amount of carbon which is present there in the bones or the broken pieces of pottery, we come to know that how old these objects are. Now our next topic is, what is the role of archaeologists there? So archaeologists, they are considered to be the scientists of history. They study the skeletal remains of living beings, artifacts and fossils, and through these studies they tell us, or they determine, or they come to know that to which dates these things belong, and they also tell us about the different groups of people that lived in the past and what kind of life they were living during that period. Now, a second source of prehistory was oral traditions. So what are oral traditions? It is a rich source of information for historians. This source means valuable information which we come to know from these sources. In India, like the Vedas, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, and the Purans, these were handed down orally. Orally means from one generation to another through word of mouth for hundreds of years, until and unless they were finally written down much later. Means in the earlier years, they were just transferred from one generation to another in oral form, and later on these were written down. Similarly, dance and music in India, they also have oral traditions with different ragas and dance mudras being passed on from teacher means guru to their student means shishya. And oral traditions, these tell us a lot about the times to which they belong. Recapitulation. Let us recapitulate what we have learned in today's session in the form of short question answers.